So for this lesson, I'd like to discuss how to convert between mass and mole quantities. We basically always rely on this formula. The number of moles equals the mass divided by the molar mass. So this is mass, and this is molar mass, and this N is the number of moles. And so a question might be simply say how many moles are in 72 grams of water. Okay, and so in order to answer this question, we rely on this formula, which is number of moles equals mass over molar mass, and we have a look at what we do know. And so it's asking for how many moles, so we're not sure of N. Do we have little m, which is the mass? Yes. Do we have the molar mass? Well, as it's written here, we don't. But we can determine the molar mass from the periodic table. And so you look at the periodic table, and you'll see that for hydrogen, we have a molar mass of 1.008 grams per mole, and for oxygen, it's 16.00 grams per mole. And so, because water is H2O, we know that the molar mass, and I like to use subscripts for these, the molar mass of water must be 2 times 1.008, and that would be grams per mole, plus the 16 for the oxygen. And that will give us 18.016 grams per mole. So now we do know the molar mass. So we have the mass, we have the molar mass. It's now straightforward to go ahead and calculate the number of moles. So let's get a fresh sheet of paper. And so if we continue that on, number of moles equals mass over molar mass is going to equal our mass, which is 72 grams, divided by our molar mass, which is 18.016 grams. And this will equal 3.996, which is really equal to, we want to go to 3 significant figures because the question reported the mass in 3 significant figures, and so this is really 4.00 mole to 3 sig figs. Okay, so that's a pretty straightforward way of calculating, and you might have the question rearranged, so it might say, okay, so how many grams, or it might say what is the mass, but so how many grams of calcium chloride in say 3.2 mole. So equivalently, this would be saying how much mass, or what is the mass of calcium chloride in 3.2 mole. And so to work it out, again we have to rely on this formula. So we've got N equals little m over big M. So we don't know the mass because that's what it's asking. We can work out the molar mass as done before, and we do know N because this is our 3.2. So the first thing would be to work out the molar mass. Now calcium chloride, calcium is in the second group, so its charge is +2, and chloride or chlorine is in the 17th group, so it has a -1 charge, and so calcium chloride is actually like this. And so the molar mass of that is going to equal the mass of calcium, which is 40.08, plus 2 times our chlorine. If you look on the periodic table, it's 35.45. So that gives us a total of equals 110.98 grams per mole. By the way, this should have been grams per mole here. And so we have to rearrange this equation because we are after mass, so we rearrange it to be mass equals number of moles times molar mass is going to equal our 3.2 times our molar mass, which is 110.98 grams per mole. I should write mole in here, and so that will equal 355.136. Now, how many significant figures do we want? Well, the question was reporting 3.2 moles, so for our answer we want to write this to two significant figures. So this would be 360 grams, and there can be a bit of ambiguity about the zeros and stuff, so a better way would actually be to write it in scientific notation, which would be 3.6 times 10 to the 2 grams, and that way no one gets confused whether this is actually 2 or 3 sig figs. But as you should remember, this is actually 2 sig figs because it ends with a 0 but it doesn't have a decimal point there. But this way it's foolproof. And so that's just a bit of a lesson on converting mass and moles, and we'll leave that there. Thank you.